If you've spent any time in Arc Raiders, you already know the game loves to humble you, but the Buried City button puzzle takes that idea and cranks it up to another level. You walk up to what looks like a simple red button in front of a locked door, thinking, alright, quick puzzle, and suddenly the game is asking for map-wide coordination, perfect timing, and zero mistakes. This isn't something you brute force or accidentally solve while looting nearby. Distances are long, the pressure is real, and one wrong move can reset everything without a single apology from the game. So if you're standing there wondering what you're missing, don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, we're breaking down the Buried City button puzzle step by step, what's actually happening behind the scenes, what the game expects you to do, and how to approach it without losing your sanity mid-raid. Think of this as your calm voice in the chaos, helping you get that door open without turning the whole run into a frustration simulator. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The Buried City button puzzle in Arc Raiders is one of those challenges that looks simple on paper, but quickly turns into a coordination nightmare once you actually try it. You are dealing with 15 red buttons scattered all over the Buried City, and they must be pressed in a very strict order. The problem is not just remembering the sequence, but the fact that some buttons are hundreds of meters apart. One wrong press, even a single mistake, and the entire sequence resets instantly. There is no mercy here, and the game does not care how close you were to the end. Movement speed ends up being the real boss of this puzzle. The faster you can move between buttons, the safer the run becomes. Adrenaline boosts and zip lines are not optional if you want to stay sane while doing this. Slow movement means more time for enemies, more chances for errors, and more stress overall. When everything is spread across the map like this, every second you save matters more than you might expect. Yes, you can technically complete the puzzle solo, but realistically, this is where teamwork shines. Running the puzzle with 2 or 3 players makes everything smoother. Each player can position themselves near specific buttons and wait for their turn in the sequence. Clear voice communication is absolutely critical. Every button press needs confirmation, and everyone has to stay focused on the order. Without solid callouts, it is very easy to lose track and accidentally reset everything. One last thing that makes this puzzle extra unforgiving is the fact that anyone can interact with the buttons. That includes random players who might have no idea what you are doing. If someone presses a button out of order, the puzzle resets immediately, no questions asked. Because of this, awareness and timing are just as important as speed. In the rest of this Buried City button puzzle solution guide, we break down each button location in detail so you can plan your route and minimize the chances of starting over. The first button is hidden inside one of the leftmost buildings in Plaza Rosa, and it is easy to miss if you rush in too fast. You will want to head straight up to the second floor and look for a room with a very noticeable green kitchen, which makes this location much easier to identify. Right next to that kitchen, along the wall, you will spot the red button sitting quietly beside a floral armchair. This is where the entire Buried City button puzzle begins, so take a second to confirm the location before pressing it and moving on. The second button takes you down into the Galleria, specifically the lowest interior level on the southern side of the building. If you enter from the roof, use the yellow rope to slide all the way down and then turn left as soon as you land. From there, follow the narrow corridor and keep an eye on the walls because the button is easy to walk past. You will find it tucked against the wall, sitting between a few metal shelves, quietly waiting for its turn in the sequence. The third button is located on the warehouse rooftop, and getting there is straightforward if you know where to look. Use the yellow ladder on the west side of the building to climb up, then head toward the rear wall near the skylights. The tricky part is spotting the exact location because the button is tucked into a tight gap between 2 ventilation units. If you are not actively checking the walls as you move, it is very easy to run right past it without noticing. The fourth button is one of the easier ones to track down, especially compared to the previous locations. In Murano Park, look for the small grey standalone shop building sitting among the trees in the open area. Head inside and check along the interior walls, and you will quickly spot the red button placed inside the shop. This one is very straightforward, so grab it and move on without overthinking it. The fifth button is hidden inside the southern building of the Grandioso Apartments and requires a small loop to reach it. Head into the building and climb to the highest interior floor, making sure you do not go onto the roof. Once there, step out onto the balcony, break the glass, and then circle back inside. You will find the button concealed behind a blue and orange patterned couch, completely out of direct view unless you know exactly where to look. The sixth button is attached to the outside of the tall blue tower in Piazza Arbusto, which immediately makes it a little more stressful to reach. You will need to carefully move along the narrow ledge that wraps around the tower, paying close attention to your footing as you circle the structure. The easiest way to get up there is by climbing the shorter building on the bridge side first, then transitioning onto the tower from there. The seventh button is located just north of the library, inside the parked bus that can also spawn a weapon case. Step into the bus and take a moment to scan the interior walls rather than the seats or floor. The button is hidden inside the bus itself, and once you know it is there, it is an easy grab before moving on to the next location. The eighth button is found in the building directly to the left of Town Hall, and you will need to head all the way up to the top floor to reach it. Once inside, look for a bedroom with purple-colored walls, which makes the room stand out immediately. The button itself is hidden behind the bed against the back wall, so be sure to check behind it before you leave and accidentally miss your turn in the sequence. The ninth button takes you into buried properties just south of the Raider Depot, where you will find a partially collapsed building marked by a yellow flag. Inside the ruins, there is a small yellow vehicle that makes this spot easy to identify once you are there. The button is embedded right within the broken structure, sitting next to that vehicle, so sweep the rubble carefully before moving on. The 10th button is hidden inside the hospital and can be easy to overlook if you rush through the area. Head to the main stairwell and follow it all the way down to the lowest floor, close to the hospital metro entrance. Once you are there, check underneath the stairs at ground level. The button is tucked behind a stack of yellow caution floor signs, so you will need to look past them to spot it. The 11th button is located at the abandoned highway, using the collapsed bridge as your main landmark. Look for the broken section of the bridge that has fallen and is now leaning against a nearby building. Use the yellow zip line to reach the elevated wreckage, then move underneath the bridge structure itself. The button is hidden within the rubble down there, so take a moment to search before moving on. The 12th button is found in the church ruins, and the area can feel a bit cluttered at first. Head toward the bottom left section of the buried structures and look for a roof with a chimney. The button is placed right next to that chimney, with plenty of trees surrounding the area, so use the roof shape and the chimney as your main visual cues when searching. The 13th button is hidden in the Santa Maria housing compound, specifically inside the attic of the far left house. Climb up onto the roof and enter through the skylight door to reach the attic space. Then check along the interior wall where it sits next to some piled furniture. A quick warning here, if you see a security breach container inside the attic, you are in the wrong one. Back out, stay on the roof, and keep moving left until you reach the correct house. The 14th button is located inside the beige brick tower near Piazza Roma on the northwest side close to Murano Station. Head inside the tower and carefully check the interior floors, because this one is not mounted on the outside like some of the earlier buttons. The button is attached to the corner of an internal wall, and a good sign you are in the right place is spotting the tall tree and the black street lamp just outside the tower. The 15th and final button is located inside the building with green shutters just north of the red tower, with the entrance on the north side. Once inside, stay on the first floor and check along the wall next to the stairs to find the button. Pressing this one finally completes the Buried City button puzzle, and if everything was done in the correct order, the door will unlock and all that effort will finally pay off. Once you press the final button and the sequence actually sticks, the locked door in Buried City finally opens with a bit of flair, complete with fireworks shooting out as it unlocks. Inside the room, you are greeted with a pile of loot, including items like guitars, recorders, shakers, and candle holders. The big reason this puzzle is worth the effort is that guitars and shakers are exclusive rewards, meaning the only way to obtain them in Arc Raiders is by successfully completing the Buried City button puzzle. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.